On this episode of Playlog, we're talking about the Helldivers 2 review bombing, the definition of an indie game, and going through both ours and your list of shame. Hey guys, CGDannyB back in with another episode of Playlog, the podcast where we talk all things indie gaming. But of course, I can't talk about indie games alone because that's no fun. So, alongside me, I've got my partner in crime, the play.nice.kids themselves, Tofr. Happy Thursday, Tofr.
Happy Thursday. Let's hope no studios were closed in the past 2 days.
Oh my god, hopefully no more studios closed. Hopefully the rest of the studios stay open forever.
Yeah.
I gotta find a new transition outside of giving the day of the week because it's just gonna be like, Happy Tuesday. It's Thursday, Danny. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Oh man, real quick before we get rolling with the show, don't forget over on youtube.com, I like to review indie games. So if you want to see me talk about this new upcoming release game that comes out today as this podcast dropping, Little Kitty Big City, I put up my review over there on youtube.com/CGDannyB. So you can either pause the show, go check that out and come right back, or finish the podcast and then go check it out afterwards. Either way, I appreciate you watching the video, showing some love to the reviews, trying to get more of those out. Just, only so many hours in the day. But yes, Little Kitty Big City. Good times. I'm excited for you to hear what I have to say about it. Oh, Tofr. It's a day, man. It is a day.
It is a day.
Sorry, I had to get some Gatorade in my system there. Before we get started with all the little fun and not so fun indie news of the day, let's do an icebreaker. Don't forget, if you want to write into the show, tell us about your favorite indie games, ask us your questions about gaming, content creation, life, etc. You can write in using the link in the description, which will someday have an actual URL instead of a bunch of letters and numbers. But today, you could write in just like Daphne did. Daphne writes in and asks, with the definition of indie game getting more and more vague and unclear lately, what defines an indie game for you? You want to take off with this one? What's an indie game, Tofr?
An indie game is a game that feels indie. That's my opinion. That's Perfect. My opinion. Like we can go into the whole semantics of like it has a publisher or it doesn't have a publisher, or it's backed by big money or it isn't. Mm-hmm. But if it feels like an indie, like if it's a game that wouldn't get made by a AAA studio, I feel like you can call it an indie.
Yeah, no, I totally see that. I think this past year with the Game Awards is probably the most like argumentative the whole thing has been. I think for a long time, indie has been very like lax, and it's just like, does it feel like an indie? Does it just chill? Is it relaxing? Is it a smaller experience? Then it counts as indie. But then we're talking Mint Rocket with Dave the Diver being under Nexon. We're talking what we'll talk about later, Rogue Prince of Persia, which is like a Ubisoft published but made by an indie studio. You talk about Cadence of Hyrule, which is like indie studio AAA IP. So there's all these different like what does it and doesn't make it indie. I think in a regular sense, if I'm just talking to you about a game that feels indie, cool. The semantics of publisher, whatever. Once we're getting into like more game of the year conversations where like it does kind of matter because a AAA game, or we'll call Dave the Diver a AAA game because of being owned, competing against other indie games, which I'm pretty sure it lost, right? I think Dave lost to, definitely wasn't Dredge. It should have been Dredge, but it might have been Cocoon.
Was it Sea of Stars?
I think Sea of Stars won best debut. No, it could have been debut. I forget. Someone have to let me know in the comments what the indie winners were. I just know it wasn't Dredge. It made me cry a little bit. But yeah, I think in those cases, right, where like if the Rogue Prince of Persia is amazing, comes out for release this year, and it's up against some smaller games this year that aren't getting that Prince of Persia like praise because of the IP, I can see that being another argument of like, well, this doesn't count, but that doesn't count, and that's a whole weird thing. But yeah, I think ownership is probably, in an official way, the best way of defining indie or not. But yeah, I think it's a vibe. It just play the games that look cute and they're small and need help. Play them.
Exactly.
Daphne, thank you so much for writing in. Don't forget, if you want to ask some more questions, you can write in as well. I still have some questions on the docket, but we're kind of going week to week here. So if you want to stockpile me a little bit, give me like 5 or 6 questions, would appreciate it. But with that out of the way, it is time to get into some of the quick indie news, starting off with the one that's really fun, really wholesome even. The Wholesome Games Direct for June 8th has been announced. So on, June 8th at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, you can look forward to a vibrant lineup of artistic, uplifting, and emotionally resonant games for developers of all sizes from around the world. And if you check it out over on Twitter, they have a little post, a fun little robot. I think he's like a toaster thing. I forget. But like, yeah, Wholesome Directs. These are excited. Love the Wholesome Directs. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Who is messaging me? Damn you, Adam. We're busy. But he is not a toaster. He's like little maybe not a pachinko machine, but those little like capsule machines there.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, they're really cute. We watched the Wholesome Direct last year. It was really funny. I forgot I have to adjust your camera. You're like you're peeking over a ledge on there. Last year we watched that Wholesome Direct, and then when we did the PAX panel for the DS, I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this panel with Jenny. Like, who? I'm like, the Wholesome Direct lady. Like, oh, the lady who shows us all the frog games. I'm like, yep, that's her. That's her. And I told her that. She's like, that is the best title I've had. That's like, I'm glad that's what I'm known for. Cool. Yeah, so we'll definitely react to that.
It wasn't wrong.
It is not.
It wasn't wrong.
Jenny do be showing a lot of frog. There's a lot of frog indie games these days. Why?
Yeah.
Not sure. I guess a lot of people like frogs, but yeah, we'll have a Wholesome Direct here in June. I'm in that spot where I don't know if I should expect anything. Like, if there's, I follow this one on Twitter, I should totally see this one coming, or if it'll just be like all new things, or I'll be like, oh my god, look at this brand new frog game. I'm sure I'm ganking 3 frog games minimum.
Should be.
Calling it. If there's more, bonus. But yeah, we'll definitely be reacting to that. That one might not be a full episode breakdown because it's like on a Saturday, so we'd be like 5 days out from like our situation, like doing our podcast, but we'll figure it out. We'll definitely cover it to some capacity.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. The Wholesome Direct is like my favorite of the showcases.
It's a great one, dude. It's great.
Yeah. It has a lot of like the games that I like to play where you don't have to be particularly good at them.
Yeah. all the cozy ones, relaxed ones, like even like, and I'm sitting here like trying to think which ones I've seen at the Wholesome Director. I'm like, interesting that this is here because this is a little more upbeat. Not that wholesome games have to be cozy, relaxing games. Like that's obviously not, that's so reclusive of what can be cozy and what can be wholesome and everything. But no, I definitely go in expecting the farming simulators, the cute shop simulators, something like Sticky Business, I'm pretty sure was at a Wholesome Direct. Like that's what you go in expecting. So the ones that aren't that are like, ooh, look what I got to see here. That's so great. Yeah.
More Sticky Business content would be amazing.
Listen, announce Sticky Business 2 already. Just do it. Just do it. Announce the sequel. Let me actually print these stickers for my chat. They just have to pay me in subs or whatever. But yeah, I look forward to that Wholesome Direct here on June 8th. Next up, I don't have an article for this one, but we're going to talk shop about this Helldiver situation that's been going on this week, man. So we'll sum it down. PlayStation tweets out like, hey, Helldivers, starting at the beginning of this month, if you're playing on Steam, you have to make a PlayStation Network account, otherwise you can't play anymore. Players got mad, review bombed the game on Steam, so it was like overwhelmingly negative. PlayStation said, you know what? We're figuring out this PC thing. Our bad. We're taking it away. We're not going to do that. Everyone said, yeah, we did it. They fixed mostly the reviews, so now the game is mostly positive again on Steam. But Tofr, how are you feeling about this whole Steam PlayStation Network account, review bombing, this whole thing? This is like a 4 or 5 day, like up, down, up, down, up, down. So I really concised it there. If you want, there's articles everywhere. You can see what was going on with it, but...
Yeah, like earlier today I saw a TikTok by, I think it's an account called Good Gamers Club.
Yes, yeah, the friend of the show. What's poppin', dude?
And he made this video saying like, oh, it's so cool to see gamers stick together, and like, you'll do this when the next developers get sacked, won't you? Like when the next studio goes down, you'll come together for them as well, won't you? Right?
Shit.
And I think that sums it up really well.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say that really sucked for people when the PlayStation thing happened, is just that in some countries you no longer could play the game.
Right. Yes.
Because PlayStation Online isn't there.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that, like for players over there, I can get that they're upset. But all of the other people, like make a fucking account.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because I come at this at a place of, I don't play Helldivers too frequently. It's very much like the itch is there, let me hop on. I'm playing it on PlayStation. I have my PlayStation account. I am probably their like ideal clientele for Helldivers. I have everything they want me to have. I think for someone on Steam who has been able to play this for 4 months, and not need a PlayStation account, and now all of a sudden they're required to, I think that's the big thing. I think if when this game dropped, they said, hey, everybody on Steam, if you want to do crossplay, you need a PlayStation account or whatever. I think that would have totally made this a much simpler thing. I think the fact that this, and forgive me, this sounds like sleazy business, like how do we fool the consumer, like a twirly mustache type vibe. But I think if this PlayStation account, you need a PlayStation account to play, came along with something that was more essential, not just like, hey, by the way, this month you need an account. If it was, hey, we're releasing on Xbox for crossplay, we need it. Such and such is happening. We're adding this big thing that lets you transfer achievements, but you need a PlayStation account, whatever it is. Like, I think if it came with something more substantial, this could have been a like less severe. Everyone's like, you know what? I get it. If I care about that stuff, I'll get there. I'll do it. But I think being like, yeah, enjoy the game on Steam, play the PlayStation, psych, now you need to have this extra account. Like, it's kind of sleazy. It's kind of weird. I feel bad because Arrowhead got like in the middle of like consumer and PlayStation butting heads. And they're like, we just want to make a funny democracy game. Like, we really didn't want... and then, of course, comments from the social media managers that were a little off base that I'm hoping that was correct internally. But, yeah, that aside, I think this was just like, I'm sure an overwhelming weekend for Arrowhead. Being like, yeah, PlayStation told us to do it. We really just want you guys to keep playing the game. We're so sorry. We'll figure it out. I don't know. But yeah, doing the thing where like people across the world could just not play anymore because you can't make a PlayStation account here, so you can't play the game. It was wild. And I'm hoping that was, not hoping, I'm assuming that was probably the most like, no, that's right, we're going to lose all of our player base because they can't play. So, but then they led into this by talking about, I guess followed this up with like Ghost of Tsushima, like you can play that single player on Steam, but if you're doing the multiplayer stuff, you need the PlayStation account. And I think that is the way to set it up. Where like going into it, you'll need this for XYZ, but not just to have the game. I think it was like an important thing that PlayStation probably fumbled in this whole bullshittery.
That's true. I just feel bad for like the developers. They get, like you said, they got stuck in the middle. But it's them who like see all of the negative reviews come rolling in and yeah, like affecting sales probably. It's just been handled poorly all around.
Massively. It's weird to think about, right? Like, this is one of those moments where I think, going back to like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? The movie, people bullying Paramount or whatever into like, change Sonic, he looks ugly. And now Helldivers like bully them on Steam, tweet at them, like fix the damn thing. I think we're creating this standard that like bully the company makes it okay because I don't like the thing. And I don't think that's incorrect. I think bullying Sony was probably the way to go. I think bullying Arrowhead is not the way to go. I don't think this was not their fault. It was definitely their problem. But I think we're setting up this standard that's like, all right, everyone, if we're all toxic, they can't make us mad anymore. And I think that's a dangerous slope to start. Like, what happens next? Like, imagine people doing this for No Man's Sky, where this just got review bombed, fix the game, whatever. And like, I guess it kind of did, but I guess not in a way that's like, fix the damn game or else I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Like, it took years for them to get back to like this good grace that they're in. And now they continue to make content that people are like happy with. Like, geez, remember where this was? What, 10 years ago? Almost like 8 years ago, whatever it was, No Man's Sky. But I don't know. I just think people should, the review bombing was in this particular circumstance, I think the best way to get that attention. I just don't think review bombing should be the standard of, I'm angry, let's all be angry and attack. I think it's, exactly. It's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. That was what I was trying to say, but you put it more eloquently.
Oh, okay, say it, man. I'll be talking, man. If I listen to this back, I'm probably bumbling over shit, all the ums and whatever. Yeah, no, we're chilling. But yeah, now it looks like Helldivers is back to normal. I don't think you need a PlayStation account as of yet, unless something changes soon. You don't need a PlayStation account for anything. You just continue to play, but it looks like they're going to preface that moving forward with other titles as they release them on Steam. So, do better, PlayStation, you know? Speaking of doing better in the games industry, man, we had some closures and layoffs this week. To keep it somewhat indie focused here, we'll start with Take-Two closes 2 former indie studios. The first one being Roll7, who made Rollerdrome and Ollie Ollie, and then Intercept Studios, who made Kerbal Space Program. I guess based on our definition earlier about indie games, these technically would no longer be indie studios because they're owned by Take-Two. I believe is the understanding here.
Yeah.
But with the legacy of Rollerdrome, Ollie Ollie, and Kerbal Space Program, those are some pretty like notable indies. So it sucks to see these studios just gone. Like
absolutely. Like Rollerdrome and Ollie Ollie World were 2 of my favorite games from 2022. And
yeah,
like it's only been 2 years and now they're done.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad. Like there's so many talented people there. I was a bit dumbfounded when I found out.
Yeah. And it's so weird to say that I'm dumbfounded myself because it sucks that this has become such a standard. Like going through 2023 and like I know someone out there, probably like a Jason Schreier or something, has like a countdown of how many layoffs there have been in 2023 and 2024, and it's astronomical. It is insane. The studio closures, layoffs, whole 9 yards, the people losing their jobs in the game industry, it's fucking volatile right now. The amount of people who just don't have careers anymore or put all their time into this career to be like, all right, well, you're gone. Bye.
Yeah.
It sucks. And then like, it almost feels like staying independent, staying indie is the most like secure way to keep a job. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely more like we need to make our own money. We don't have someone that's just funneling money for us to make these games. But I guess there technically isn't someone overhead being like, well, you're done, son. Close the doors. We're out of here. And like, I don't know what that's going to mean for these teams, these people over at Roll7 and Intercept that are going to now like, are they going to join other indie teams? Is their resume going to stack up that they can go work at? Well, maybe not in Xbox right now, but like, I don't know. These layoffs suck. These closures suck.
They do. And there's so many of them. And like, it's an interesting point you make about indies, maybe like indie studios, maybe preferably staying indie and not finding a publisher. But then again, like Die Gute Fabrik is an indie studio that whose games I love.
What do they make?
They made Mutazione and Salt Sea Chronicles.
Yeah. And
they just announced that they are out of work as well because they can't find any financing.
Yeah.
So it's volatile all around. Like my Twitter feed is just full of people from the games industry being like, "Hi, I'm looking for work."
Yeah.
And it saddens me.
It sucks, man. It really fucking sucks. Like going back to what you said, like Good Gamers Club making the video, like, hey, when studios close in this, like, we're gonna band together to help, right? And I feel like this feels like one of the most, what can gamers do, really? What can we do to, like, not let this happen? And that sounds like give all the studios all our money, which is not a logical way to go about it. To be like, well, if you wanted to keep our studios alive, you should have bought our games. But I don't know. It sucks. Like, what... And I stand here just like, what could we have done? What could have been different? Because I would have loved to Rollerdrome too. Ollie Ollie never really my thing. Yeah. Kerbal never really my thing. But I understand that people love them. So like for me personally, being like that, I won't get a Rollerdrome 2 someday. Like really sucks. Or if I do, it's not going to be from the people that should be making it.
Exactly. Like Ollie Ollie World is probably alongside Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 my favorite skating game. It's that good. And we're not gonna see how that series evolves either.
Yeah. Fuck, man. But don't get happy yet, because we still have more closures, because along with those closures, Xbox shuts down Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and more studios. So for a quick breakdown, not so much indie, but I think it's important to note like the layoffs here, just because we're talking about Take-Two anyway. But so Xbox has closed down a bunch of studios within Bethesda. So Arcane Austin, who most recently worked on Redfall, they've been closed. Tango Gameworks, who worked on Hi-Fi Rush and Evil Within, they're closed. Alpha Dog Games, who did the mobile game Mighty Doom, it's like a temple run, but Doom type deal, they closed. And then Roadhouse Studios, who I guess assisted on Redfall. That's like really what I saw for that studio. It's all I really found. But they were absorbed into ZeniMax, who work on Elder Scrolls Online. So I didn't get a head count of how many people lost their jobs, how many people were employed there. But I think one of the most like bizarre things about it is that like I was not a big fan of Tango because Evil Within was not for me. Hi-Fi Rush was that banger. I was like, Tango's on the map now because I like Hi-Fi Rush, which not indie, but like if you hit any company logos and just showed me that trailer when we saw that, I'm like, that's an indie game right there. That's got an indie game vibe, and they're nailing it. And the fact that it wasn't, that's the thing where AAA games don't take the risk and try things when they, maybe a bad time to say it, when they fiscally can attempt to do that, where they can try doing the weird, goofy things that people might like. And then they do. We have this banger out of nowhere shadow drop, Hi-Fi Rush, like everybody's into it, and then we close the studio. Like, now in my head, bigger studios, you can kind of pass those IP around and do whatever you want, I guess. But will we get a Hi-Fi Rush 2? I don't think so now. And like,
nope,
it really sucks.
It does. And the thing that really blows my mind is that Microsoft just made like over 20 billion in profit.
Yeah.
And this is like the result. I mean, they can afford to like take risks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect their gains, and yet they're just doing this.
Yeah, man. I am not a business person. I am not business savvy. I can't sit here and tell somebody you should do this, you should have done this, you should have put this money in this foreign bank account, blah 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 blah. That's not me. If you came for financial advice, wrong podcast, bud. But I just like, damn, I wish it just made sense to what they're doing. And like maybe behind the scenes, because we just got Hi-Fi Rush on Switch, correct? That didn't come to PlayStation?
Yeah.
I think just Switch. So now like in my heart, that tells me we're not getting a PlayStation port for Hi-Fi Rush, unless that's something that's already kind of done and that'll just come out when it comes out. But now I'm assuming not. But then you had mentioned it's on like the Humble, like top purchases today or something like, or some.
It's part of the new Humble Choice selection.
Okay. Yeah. So what a shitty day to be like, sorry, our studio's closed, but if you still want to buy it, which again, in the background, not knowing business stuff, that sounds like more money for the game that was made by a closed studio is still going in Microsoft pocket, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I hate it. I hate seeing, repeating everything we said for Take-Two. I hate seeing people lose their jobs. It's the AAA, like the AAA scene where, not that I think it is more likely they'll find a job and get replaced. Like, condolences all around. It still sucks.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Damn, dude. Well, at least we can go out and buy that new Fire Xbox controller that they announced the same day they announced all these closures. I'm glad we can all go do that.
Sure.
Thanks, Microsoft. Really appreciate it. I forget who it was. One of my mutuals tweeted out just like, oh, sweet. They took all of the ill will they got from these last couple months and put that focus energy into a cool controller. Nice. And I was like, fuck, dude. That's crazy. But our best wishes to everybody this month, this year, this generation that's been losing their jobs in the game industry. We hope you find something new. Continue to make shit that we love to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what's nice? Sales numbers, baby. And you know what has some sales numbers? Rusty's retirement, Tofr. Rusty's retirement has sold 100,000 copies. Nice. We talked about this one, I think, the last 2 weeks? We've brought up Rusty in some capacity. We'll talk about like the demo and everything. And the fact that I think it's like a $5-6 game on Steam, 100,000 copies. And I still haven't picked up my copy. I still haven't bought it myself. And I don't know if you ended up picking it up or just haven't played it or what the case is, but
I picked it up.
Okay.
I haven't played it yet, but because of the moving house stuff.
Right.
But
that's
I picked it up.
Yeah. Man. That's gotta feel good. That's gotta feel really good for the studio to be like that. six-digit number how many copies we sold, and I'm sure that's probably rounded down just for simplicity's sake. But
yeah, and not just that, it's like it seems like it's starting a new genre of games that play at the bottom of your screen.
Let's go, baby! I'll take them. If you start getting roguelikes that I could play on half my screen. And I'm just taking a quick peek at the article Games Radar mentioned. Like, yeah, selling 100,000 copies the same week as like Stellar Blade released, the same week as Manor released, the same week as Sandland released, the Akira Toriyama joint. Like, it was a big week to get 100,000 copies sold. So that's pretty dope for Rusty.
Absolutely.
So we can all be excited for Rusty. Go play Rusty on Steam. If you like farm sims on like a third of your monitor, it's the way to go.
Yeah.
And to round out the news for the week, today, LuddoNarraCon starts on Steam. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically imagine Steam Next Fest, but for like narrative games. There's a bunch of demos out. As a creator, I got to play a bunch of demos early. I'm hoping to have some coverage soon on that. But I know Saturday afternoon, I'll be playing a bunch of demos over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CGDannyB if you want to hang out and check out that. If I take a quick peek at what I got on there, I have played a little bit of Afterlife EP. I played a little bit of Pine. I've played a little bit of Tavern Talk as well as Cryptmaster. There's some bangers on there. Cryptmaster comes out later this week, I believe. Yeah, later this week.
Yeah.
So bunch of cool games in there. Check out some demos. I'm sure there's some sales and other narrative games. So be sure to check out LuddoNarraCon.
It's one of my favorite festivals on Steam.
Yeah,
because I love narrative games. It's the whole reason I got into indie games is because it has the best narratives.
That's sick, dude. I didn't find out about it till last year. I think I was listening to the 6-1 Indie guys. They were talking about LuddoNarraCon. And I was like, I know all these games. I've heard about them. I just didn't know about this festival, right? So when I saw the tweet, they're like, hey, creators, if you're interested, da-da-da-da. I filled out that form. And basically they gave you like one code. I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to work. But they give you a code and then it adds like 40 demos to your Steam library. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what to do now. There's decision paralysis. What do I play? So I have a bunch downloaded. There's a bunch I already have played. I can't tell, like, if I look, it doesn't show that I have the demo for Slay the Princess. It shows that I have Slay the Princess. So I don't know if I go to launch it, if I actually own the game now, or if it is just the demo. It's just a weird thumbnail. But I'm like, do I own Slay the Princess? Because I was going to buy that and play it eventually. I have to, but...
Would be cool. It's an excellent game.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I think my buddy Jacob McCourt was also telling me I got to play it, which we'll hear from him a little bit later, twice even. But yeah, I definitely have a bunch of narrative games I need to get to. Just May is a rough month for it. We got a lot coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to check out some cool demos, you're like, I don't know if I want to buy these things. I want to try them out. There's a bunch of dope demos. Probably even some that I didn't get my hands on yet. I still have to scroll back through and see what new things are on there. But yeah, go check out some demos. It runs from the 9th to the 12th, I believe. I might need a fact check on that, but yeah, soon. But with that, the indie news is done, and it's time to get on to the topic of the show. Tofr, you say yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what sometimes hurts as an indie game lover?
Tell me, Danny.
Is that we can't play everything. There's so much to play, and there's just no time. Which means sometimes some big-ass titles, or even some small-ass titles, just kind of get brushed to the side, never get finished, never get started. So today, we're talking about our list of shame. We've each picked 5 games that we've just not beaten, not played, and we're going to talk about why we haven't played them, and why we should play them, why we want to play them, and we'll do all that. Sound fun?
Yeah. Sounds fun.
Bet. I keep trying to drink this Gatorade while I'm talking. I'm not sure. I'm like fidgeting. I'm not sure what that's about. I think I need to check myself today, but it's all good. But I guess we should probably start. There's one game that we both have on here, and I guess we should probably just start there. Hey, Tofr, you ever played Hollow Knight?
I played some of Hollow Knight.
Okay. I have also played some of Hollow Knight. I've had my horror story of like how I've never finished it because I could not get past the damn elevator, that I didn't know how to go down further in the map. And that has always been one that has haunted me, is not finishing or like really getting towards the end of Hollow Knight. and I want to. I want to.
I think we're stuck at the same space in the game.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I think I got stuck on an elevator as well. I was just, how do I move this?
Yeah.
I can't get past it, and I can't move it.
I think there's one, it's like if you're on the right, you're trying to go left, and the lever's over here. And it's like, yeah, you can't, you have to go to the other side. So I go up and around, and I'm like, somewhere down here is the way to get to this side, but I couldn't find it. I didn't know where it was. And the amount of secret stuff I found, secret bosses, secret rooms, I'm like, I gotta find it. No. And I believe Hollow Knight was probably my first real attempt at a Metroidvania. So like, I probably didn't have my head wrapped around how to progress or what I need to do or like the flow of one, right? So like when I played some more and I'm like, I get it. I understand now. I think I could do better at this. I've just not jumped back into Hollow Knight since then because I think I've been on like, when we get a date for Silksong, I'll try to do Hollow Knight right to Silksong. And we don't know when that's happening yet. So I might still be in that waiting window.
Plenty of time.
Listen, maybe plenty. What if they shadow drop it tomorrow?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Can you imagine? That would be wild. They're just like, okay, we're tired of you bitching. Here it is. Here's the damn game. Shut up. Hades did it. Why can't we?
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, I think it's like just collectively, like I think everyone agrees, like it's a gorgeous game. It's stunning. The gameplay is fun. I think it's an indie darling for a reason, and people love it. I just need to commit to it. I need to get back to it.
Yeah, same here. But like, I'm not that big of a Metroidvania fan. Like, I've tried a couple, and I think they're cool, but I just get lost. And with the difference with Hollow Knight is I want to get lost in this world, and I want to discover all of the secrets that it has, and I just need to set my mind to it. Yeah.
Let me see here. Sorry, I was pulling up the trailer for the next one. Yeah, dude, it's always weird where I feel like I hear people talk about Hollow Knight, like, dude, I love this game. I like you got to finish it. And I'm like, I will someday, possibly. And I think I own it on like 3 platforms. I'm pretty sure I have it on Steam. I started on Switch and I own it on PlayStation. I even just bought the collector's edition on like a liquidation sale at a local game store. So now I have like a little medallion and stuff. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to check this out. But also I'm like, my other wall of games, there's so much to play. But Hollow Knight's right there. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get that juice. Maybe we'll just do a book club for it. Maybe we'll do an episode where like, hey guys, just so you know, in 2 weeks, we're doing our like review of like Hollow Knight. So you have 2 weeks to go play this game or at least start the game and do whatever. Hopefully we can find a window for that, but that might be a good episode to do.
That would be cool. Maybe we can do it, make it a monthly thing, the book club.
Listen, I'd be down. We just got to, commit.
Yeah, exactly.
But tell you what, how about you tell me about your next game, since we both shared Hollow Knight there. You can tell me about another game you haven't played.
I mentioned it, I think, last week, but I have not played Terraria. And the thing is, like, the game should be totally up my alley, really. Yeah. But it feels too open. Okay. And, like, I started the game once. Yeah. And I had no idea what to do, because you get a lot of freedom. And I think after like 5 minutes, I just quit out. I was like, no, I need something linear.
So do you feel like Terraria is one that... I always look at my list of shame as the games that, like, if you like indie games, you should have played this one. You should play this one. You got to experience it. Do you think this is one that you are missing out on not experiencing? Do you feel like it's one that initial experience, I'm like, this doesn't seem like a Tofr game. Like, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to commit to it. So, like, I'm not worried about it. Like, where are you at on that?
I think I am missing out. And I would love it if like, there was someone to, like, hold my hand and guide me into the game. Yeah. Just to, like, set me on my way. Because now I can't take that first step. Something's holding me back. Yeah. And it's a shame because so many people are telling me like Terraria is an amazing game and you can just keep playing it for hours upon hours, and I would love to try, but I need someone to hold my hand.
I feel you. I've talked so many times before about how like survival games are not my niche. Like I don't enjoy them very much. Like they have to be something a little more unique, like something like Power World, Valheim. gets that itch, even though we've never beaten the second boss, but that starting beating the first boss, exploring, building the house. I'm like, this is always a blast, but like we end up falling out of it. And Terraria is one that I think maybe collectively I've put like 4 or 5 hours into, like an afternoon of just fun. But I'm pretty sure I said this last week, because as we read Zenosa's question, it was just like, you know, do you love it? I'm like, if someone told me today that I could never play Terraria again, I'd be like, oh well, that's fine. I could live without it.
Yeah.
Not to say I never will, but I could definitely say I probably never would of my own volition. If it was just like, Danny, we're doing a charity thing and we're all playing Terraria for 12 hours, I'm like, okay, I can make it work. But I'm not just going to be like, dude, today's a Terraria ass day. Let's go. But yeah, no, I know people love Terraria. I think a lot of people want more people to play it, but teach their own. Do your thing. Yeah, do you ever think you will Terraria it up? You think you'll find that? Or you think you're just going to find the person, be like, hey, come with me, come play with me? You think you're just like, I'm pretty sure it's just not going to happen.
I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen because there's so many other games.
Yeah.
and like every other game on my list is a game that I would prefer playing to playing Terraria.
I agree with that. Looking at the list, I got the sneak peek. I would agree. My next game on my list of shame is one that I have been dying to play for the longest time. And it sucks that I haven't yet. But that is Night in the Woods. It is like a narrative adventure. You talk super highly of it. I think our first episode we talked it might have been the discussion of like a game you could forget and play for the first time again. I want to say you brought up this one. I could be totally misremembering the question, but just the art style, the vibe that I get from it, not knowing the actual narrative, where I'm just like, shit, this looks like a fun, I say it so often, a fun rainy afternoon where I sit by the window, I watch the water drip down, headphones on, hoodie and a pillow, and just play the damn game. And it just hasn't occurred yet. That moment hasn't come. And I got to make it happen someday.
You really do. It's one of those magical indie games. Like, it's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
I even have like one of the songs from the game as my ringtone on my phone.
Okay.
Because I adore this game.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's up there with Celeste.
Okay. That's a high standard. I get it then.
Yeah.
I think so. To double back a little bit, so like I have a Wheel of Shame on my Twitch channel, so we have like a sub goal every month. Like if we hit the sub goal, we'll do all these things, whatever. This month's a cooking stream, so if you want to get a cooking stream from CGDannyB, go subscribe on Twitch. But whenever we hit our halfway goal of those, I spin the Wheel of Shame, and then we play that game. Whether it's I get into it and try it, find out it's not for me, I get into it and beat it. If we had done this podcast like a month ahead of time, I would have included Hades on this list because I'd never finished Hades. But that was not most recent, but the previous like Wheel of Shame where I played through Hades. I finally beat that. We'll say current one is Iconoclast, which I've started, but I think we've had like a bad catch on stream of like, are people interested in watching Iconoclast? I feel like it's a little bit too like enjoy this game, not enjoy watching someone play this game.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like stepping back, that I'll probably try and continue that off stream, like at whatever pace it happens. But I'm enjoying Iconoclast, and yeah, on that wheel is Night in the Woods, and I'm waiting for like this month we had halfway to that sub goal, spin it. Am I gonna land on Night in the Woods? Am I gonna land on something else? Or am I gonna watch that little thing just tick, 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 like Wheel of Fortune style, just past what I wanted it to be, and then into the bankruptcy and play like, not that anything on that wheel is bankruptcy. I have a bunch on there, but like, yeah, I've been waiting for that to happen because I think this is one I'm going to want to experience on stream. I think my chat likes those emotional narrative games. I think they like seeing me get like sappy and cry over shit. And I feel like there could be that moment where I'm like, oh no, not this. I don't want that to happen.
Absolutely.
And I want that home video of it to be like, Danny cried.
Yeah, I think you'll really love it. It's a game that feels very Danny.
Yeah, I think so. I do feel pretty me. Do you know how long it is? Like, what's like the average like playthrough or so? Is it a longer one?
I have no idea, but I can find it. Hang on. There's like this website called howlongtobeat.com.
It's a good website. It's a good website.
Yeah.
I like How Long to Beat sometimes. I feel like sometimes they don't account for the average gamer, like getting lost, getting distracted, doing this other thing, pause or whatever. Like,
yeah.
So the amount of times I've streamed a game because I'm like, oh, it says you can beat this in 3 hours, and then it's like a 6-hour playthrough. I'm like, this thing fucking lied to me. Some speedrunners are putting their times up.
I think it's about 10 hours.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So in the right week, that's like a week's worth of with 3-hour streams, whatever. But I think that's how. Actually, I don't think any of the other games I have on my wheel, but I might add them to the wheel now. But yeah, Night in the Woods. I definitely got to play that one. Also, guys, if you played these games or haven't played these games, and like if you have played them, be like, Danny and Tofr, what are you doing? You got to play blah, blah, blah. And if you haven't played them and they sound interesting, at least go wishlist them on Steam or go pick them up. I'm sure a lot of these games, some of them are older. You can probably find them on like good sale. I think I picked a lot of more recent ones, but yeah. All right, Tofr. Now it's time for me to yell at you. Now it's time for me to decide if you're allowed to be on this podcast anymore. What's your next game of shame?
I'm gonna whisper it. It's Shovel Knight.
What?
It's Shovel Knight.
All right, let's talk. Let's roll. How have you not played Shovel Knight? Like the indie game, the one indie game that you need to be born. At birth, they hand you a copy of Shovel Knight. What's going on here?
I honestly don't know. Like, I've had it on my Switch for a while.
Yeah.
And it was on my wish list for way longer as well. And the thing is, every time I'm thinking of picking a new game to play, Shovel Knight never comes up.
Okay.
And I honestly don't know why, because I know it's supposed to be like this, like probably one of the best platformers around.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little scared of it because I'm not very good at platformers. But still, I know I have to play it. I know. I feel very like this is the list of shame, and this is the one I'm probably most ashamed of.
We will have to preface, Yacht Club, if you're listening, Tofr's views are not my own. So if you ever want to work together, you let me know, and we'll just leave Tofr out. You can include me, because I love Shovel Knight. Dig, Pocket Dungeon, whatever, just include me. I'm just saying. But no, I am not. It's funny, right? Because like for the longest time, Shovel Knight has been my favorite indie game, and I think I've had rose-tinted lenses sounds a little like aggressive for it, I guess. Like it's not that I don't think Shovel Knight is a good game. I love Shovel Knight. I think I just have a more personal connection because it was like my gateway indie. It is like the first indie game I played. I remember like wanted to play it on PC. My laptop couldn't handle it. It eventually came to Wii U, and like that's where I played it for the first time.
Oh wow!
Traded that in. Not traded it. I worked at GameStop, so you could check games out for 4 days, take them back, whatever. Like beat the game, took it back, checked it out on 3DS, so I played it on the go and in class and everything like that. Eventually picked it up on Switch, picked it up on PlayStation 4, played it on Xbox. I think that was another one I checked out from GameStop. But like I played through Shovel Knight like countless times, and it is one that I haven't gotten the platinum for yet. And I'm debating like, do I make this my 150th platinum, my 200th platinum, because it is that like important to me. It's just a challenging one. There's like no death runs. There's like breaking all the checkpoint runs. I'm like, this is gonna take some grinding and getting used to. But like, I say all that to be like, I understand Shovel Knight is not the perfect platformer. It's not like it's there. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it necessarily. I just think it is very nostalgia bait sounds toxic. I see all these again with love in my heart for Shovel Knight. I see why a lot of people are just like, it is just a platformer, and it is, but I will always love this little blue bastard. And like seeing, like I have a plush across the room. I've got a fucking, you can't see it behind me. I have a poster, a display that says just shovel it. And it's just like Shovel Knight with like a cross of shovels. I love it. I love this franchise. So like I will never tell someone not to play Shovel Knight. I'll be like, listen, if you're into platformers, if you're into classic things, I say, check it out, play it. It's always on my list of recommendations. I just get not tired. I just assume people get tired of hearing me talk about it. So I'll be like, let me find something else. Let me find something else to recommend.
Yeah. I will get round to playing it eventually. Like when the new releases start dying down a little bit.
Yeah. Someday. I think I tweeted out the other day, I was like, if they remade or updated Shovel Knight with the new sprite set from like Shovel Knight Dig, specifically the ones from Dig, where I'm so bad at talking about like bit count, so I'm probably gonna butcher this. I think Shovel Knight is proper is 8-bit, and I think Shovel Knight Dig is either 16 or like 32-bit. Like it's some big bits, it's some big pixels. But those, I love the new sprites if I could play like classic Shovel Knight, those levels with the sprites of like the new ones, I think it'd be like a whole new experience for me, and I would love that. So Yacht Club, what we got to do? What we got to do to make it happen? What we got to do? Because I'll play.
Make Danny so happy.
I would make Danny so happy, so happy. But you do see yourself at some point being like, I'll get to Shovel Knight. I will. It's just gonna. Is it like one of those one day when the twinge kicks in? You're like, you know what? It's a Shovel Knight ass kind of day.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been thinking, I'm probably gonna start streaming again soon, and I think that one might be one of my stream games.
We got him, baby. We got him. He's playing. Yeah, Tofr gonna be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. No, I would. Yeah, again, I would love that for you. Like, I don't expect anyone else on the planet to be like obsessed with Shovel Knight like I am. We did our Let's Play 7 years ago. Me and my buddy Kadai did like a co-op run, and I remember like the if you watch the first episode, there's something to the effect of like, I probably love Shovel Knight the most. He's like, I wouldn't agree with that, but I'm not gonna argue with you either. I'm like, exactly, exactly. Yeah, it is very much part of my personality to love Shovel Knight, and yeah, again, not try to shove it down everybody's throat, but I would recommend everybody play Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I have the same feeling with Night in the Woods, so I understand. But what's your next game on the list?
Oh, it's just some newfangled type deal. So another game on my list is Bramble the Mountain King, and this is a more recent one, I believe. I want to say this was 2021, I think. Maybe 2022 early. No, it's 2024. It might have been 2020. Anyway, it's last couple years. But it's like this third person. I almost want to say Little Nightmares-esque. It's not the same type of gameplay, but it's got that vibe in terms of like the camera angles, the scale of everything. And people really love this game. And I think I held up because I had gotten a key for it through like Lurk It. But during that same month, I did like check out these games on Game Pass. And I talked about Bramble King, so I was able to like submit that as content. But I never actually played the game. I just said, you can play it on Game Pass if you want. And if I recall, there might have been something that made it like restricted on Twitch. I don't know if it was like boobies or something came up where it's like, oh, you're going to get banned if you stream Bramble King, Bramble Mountain King or whatever. So I held off. But I still like look at this now. The trailer's playing for anyone watching the video version. I'm like, shit. This looks like an adventure. This looks like a good time. And yeah, I think it's just another one that almost feels so recent that I'm like, if I'm going to play something in my backlog, I should play something older, And I just don't know when this would take priority. And it feels like, again, one that I have to put on the wheel of shame, spin it, and be like, okay, now that we've landed on it, it's time to play Bramble.
Yeah.
I'll just have to double check the Twitch TOS things to see if I get banned or not.
Is it co-op as well? Because I thought I saw two playable characters, but
I don't know if it's co-op. I'm looking at that too. I want to say the extra character is just more like a set piece side character, almost like Little Nightmares 2, where you have like a second character, but it's not co-op. I'm gonna double check here on Steam. Yeah, I just see single player, so I think it's just additional NPC character along for the ride. But yeah, I don't think it's co-op. We try. Okay. We aim. Need more co-op.
Is this the kind of horror game that you usually play?
I think so. I think it's just more my speed. I typically am not into horror games, but like I say that with Crow Country coming out later this week, which looks really exciting. I think it's the survival horror, i.e. like modern Resident Evil, Evil Within, things like that really like turn me away from horror games. Yeah. And I even say that where like I enjoy Dead Space, but I wouldn't say I like playing Dead Space. I own what's the Callisto Protocol? Yeah, I own that. That's still in the wrapper because I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play it. I don't know why I bought it, but like, they look fun. I just don't think horror is my genre unless I'm streaming it. If I'm not streaming it, I'm not playing it. Versus again, something like Little Nightmares, something like Bramble, that's less survival horror and it's a little more atmospheric. It's a little more like small character in big scary world, feels more contained, and I'm getting that adrenaline from running from something, but I'm not getting the absolute fear of my heart falling out of my asshole, Like, it's a very different vibe. But, yeah. No, I think that's definitely more my speed when it comes to, like, horror type deal. But yeah, Bramble looks like one I'll get to one of these days.
one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that like, there's this upcoming game where you live in a town, and in the center of that town, there's like this gigantic policeman.
Yes.
Who watches everyone. I can't remember the title.
Shoot, I think it's something not English.
But I think that would be something for you then.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to the indie game about giant cop. Here it is. Millet Cyanere.
Okay.
Millet Cyanere. I don't know how you pronounce it. Militsioner. I think that was at, it might have been Day of the Devs. It's by Tall Boys. If you guys find it on Steam, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't have it wishlisted. What am I doing? Yeah, no, I think that one looks dope. Again, that's a very different vibe from like what I think most people find to be horror and what I think I dig. Because this one was showing some very like, maybe a bad day to bring them up, like Bethesda style like RPG things where like you're exploring Dishonored-esque, where like I go in, I talk to something, and that sets up the story path that makes him like, hey, turn that radio off, I'm trying to take my afternoon nap, and he starts like swinging and picks you up, you're going to jail, and then like reset type deal. It's weird to make the comparison to Deathloop. I feel like comparisons automatically people will be like, it's nothing like Deathloop. I'm like, it's just one mechanic. It's just one little thing. But yeah, it's like a first person game where you play as a dude being harassed by a giant cop. So makes you feel right at home. Yeah. I don't know how many black people are going to be playing Millet Cyanere. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But that's not on the list of shame. We'll play that when it comes out. You know what else is on the list of shame? Your next game.
Yes. My next game is Braid. It's one of those classics that comes up in every single best indie games ever list.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I wanted to play it. I really did. And I feel bad that I can't play it now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the ending was spoiled to me.
Yeah.
And the ending is very important to this game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it here for anyone who hasn't played.
I will.
If you haven't played it, then...
No, I won't.
No, but like go in blind and you're going to love it. But I just don't see the reason to play it now.
Yeah. No, that it is... It's weird, right? Because it's almost a spoiler to say, like, it's one of those, like, oh, wait till you get the twist, you know? Where I'm like, oh, that sucks that there, I know there's a twist. Like, the thing now I'm going to be expecting that twist the entire time. I think classically, like, Braid is one of the, like, gateway indies for a lot of people. I think back to watching, like, Indie Game the movie that's about Braid, Fez, and Super Meat Boy. And like those are three that I'm like, a lot of people's first indie games are like those three. And of those three, I would say Braid is probably like my least favorite of them all. Not that I dislike Braid. I think in the same headspace where I'm like, I understand that Shovel Knight, though, is like really fun to me. Doesn't do like something super, we'll say original now. If you're playing Braid for the first time in 2024, like the rewind mechanic is not a new thing. That's something that's new to people. But I still think it's a fun experience. Yeah, I do think a lot of it hinges on having that finale, like, oh, this happened. But I also think at this point, if you said you haven't played Braid and someone's like, you haven't played Braid, they're fanboying a little too hard. I think we should pump the brakes a little bit. I think Braid is pretty good. I think it's definitely worth the play if like time permits or like the itch is there. But yeah, I don't think you should be crucified for not playing Braid. Personal opinion. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I already was crucified for not playing Shovel Knight, so.
Well, that's true. That's because you're a mess. You should have played Shovel Knight. But... yeah, no. Braid's again really cool. I don't want that to sound like don't play Braid. If you like a cool platformer that's about rewinding and stuff, yeah, I definitely think if it sounds interesting, play it. But
all right.
But like, do you see yourself playing it then? I know you're like, I don't know if I will. Do you think it's another like if it happens, it happens, but like you're not aiming to?
It's not gonna happen. Like the ending is too important, and like I have so many games still to play, and I'm just not gonna take the time to play a game knowing how it ends.
Yeah, I get it. Damn, way to spoil shit, internet. Be better.
Yeah. It's my own fault. Like I used to watch a lot of list videos on YouTube.
Damn. I'm sorry, internet. It's not your fault. Tofr, be better. You made me.
Yeah,
You let
I
me
know,
blame
I
the
know,
internet.
I know.
You let me blame the internet for your choices.
I know. I'm sorry, internet.
I get it. No, we do it all the time.
What's your next pick?
My next pick is again another recent one. This one I always forget is like indie because of the voice cast behind it, and like it's a crazy ass cast. But I played the demo while back and got really into it, and the game is Stray Gods, the role playing musical. So it is I guess for all intents and terms, it's a visual novel. But you're playing as this young woman who she's part of a band. She's played by Laura Bailey. And she ends up getting mixed up with all these gods who are just like, hey, we're gods. Fuck humans. We hate you. We don't trust you. And the entire thing is a musical. I believe Carrie Payton's in here. I think he plays the satyr. Troy Baker's in here. Ashley Johnson's in here. There's an entire list that it's been so long since I look. I'm sure I'm missing some other big names. But like, it is this, almost comic book style, like, you're playing through different musical moments, and I forget how important like the decision making part is. I think it is more just you're playing like a narrative like story. But it always looks so dope and so fun leading up to it. And it was another one of those bad times when it came out. I was playing something else, or I got a review code for something else, and I just don't know what it was, and never got back around to it. But yeah, Stray Gods always looked like a sick one. I don't know if you ever touched it or played the demo or anything.
I played the demo and I loved it, and I bought it when it came out, and then I played up until where the demo stopped.
Okay.
And then I didn't continue because I think there were like 3 other games in that same week that released that I wanted to play, and I never got round to going back to it. And I feel bad about it because like it has music by Austin Wintory, who did the music for Journey.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks amazing. Like the voice cast, like you said, is insane. I need to go back to it.
Yeah. Well, another book club. Why do that one? We have a whole list of book club, baby.
Yeah, when we do visual novel month.
Listen. Is there a month for that? Is there a visual? Oh, maybe it should have been this month for Ludo. That's too busy this month. All right, guys.
It's too busy.
Put a note. May 2025. We'll aim for visual novel month. Waiting for another LuddoNarraCon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Stray Gods was like a fun one. I think I really enjoy what I played of it so far. I think it is one. I'm very often a type of gamer where if the audio, not necessarily not important, but if I could play it muted and have like a show or a podcast running at the same time, it's a lot more accessible for me. Like, I think Tales of Gonzera, I played that like completely focused in for the first couple hours. And once I was in, I was like, playing whatever in the background, and as dialogue would kick in, pause the show, watch the game, like focus on that entirely. I think Stray Gods is not one I could do that. That is like everything has to be shut off. I'm not watching anything. I'm not talking to somebody. I am locked in on this game, hearing the songs and everything at the same time. So it's one of those ones where I have to shut off the entire world around me to play it. And currently that's just not an option. There's no time for that, or a stream game. But
yeah, I'm still impressed about like how much music they must have written for this.
Yeah.
Because some of the narrative choices you make are during the songs. And that's just insane. Like, depending on your choice, the music changes, the lyrics change, and it's like that for every song.
Really put it on the head. It's one of those weird things, right? I don't know if you ever feel this where like, specifically for indies, like if I didn't play it, I'm like, I don't have a gauge of its success sometimes. Where I'm like, shit, what if this game floundered because I didn't pick it up? And like, I don't want that to sound high and mighty, like, they didn't play it, we're fucked. Like, that's not the case. But like, again, I think we talk about Terraria, where I'm like, I only played a little bit, but like, I understand people love Terraria. I feel like outside of my immediate circle, outside of my own head, don't think I've heard a lot of other people talk about Stray Gods. And I wonder, like, did it not perform well? Is it not? And then again, having the big voice cast behind it, like, did that game put all the effort into making, like, hey, we have Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Carrie Payton, and then it floundered, and I'm like, oh, please tell me that didn't happen. Or it did amazing, and I'm out of the zeitgeist for it, and I'm like, oh, no, Danny, we're fine, relax.
I remember some reviews, and those reviews were mostly mixed to
Okay.
slightly positive.
Yeah.
And I remember that some of those reviews said that for a musical, the worst part about it was the music.
Oh shit. Huh.
Yeah, because they found the narrative engaging,
Yeah.
but they found that the musical parts were a bit boring, a bit
Damn.
bland. Yeah.
That sucks. I remember the one during the demo, whatever they ended on, it's the one with the satyr. And like that, it was a very like, I don't think you played the whole thing. I think that was like the, before we leave, check out what you could play in the full game. And like, this one fucks, this one slaps. Yeah. And again, I couldn't sit here and sing along with it, but when it would come back up, I'm like, yeah, this is the one I liked. Let's go. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'm interested to hear what it is that people don't like, as like not a music major, anyone that could sit here and be like, well, this music is engaging because of such and such in the musical pentameter and blah 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 blah. I'd just be like, cool, the song hit or the song didn't hit.
I think what you just mentioned was actually a big part of it, that for a musical, most of the songs just didn't stick in your head afterwards.
Okay.
Like people would like be engaged, and the moment they turn off the game, they couldn't sing you a single song from it.
Damn. Now I'm sitting here wondering, I'm like, okay, so I'm very much like, I have to put the song on loop like 20 times to learn like the first verse, and like rewind and play, like I gotta remember these lyrics so I can get through it. So yeah, either it is like, if it's not that engaging, but also sometimes musicals, they don't do, again, I'm talking as if I know music like that, but like listening to the radio and hearing like the chorus and the verse on repeat, where I can say that part. Like I had a TikTok earlier play, it's like, she the devil, she a bad little bitch, she a rebel, and I've been singing that in my head for the last like 3 hours. And like, do the songs not have that hook that I'd be like, oh yeah, that one that I'm listening to had the like, I'm a satyr, oh yeah, like fucking line in it that like, but interesting. No, like again, let's probably go on the actual Wheel of Shame for stream. That maybe one day I'll play through it on like with chat and experience that. But I have to imagine that's a pretty long one, a pretty beefy one.
That could be, yeah.
But yeah, Straight Gods. Sounds cool, sounds dope, sounds lit. Tofr, you want to tell me about this last game you haven't played? Because, again,
you're going to crucify me again.
Twice.
You're going to... Yeah.
I got 2 crosses nailed to each other that are going to just...
It's Sea of Stars. Yeah. The thing is, like, I don't have any nostalgia for these kinds of JRPGs, and sure. I know that you mentioned that doesn't really matter. Like, you didn't have that nostalgia either, and you didn't need that nostalgia. But like, the truth is, this one came out at a time when there was so much coming out.
Yeah.
And I never got around to it. And on top of that, it's a pretty long game. And I want to like devote the right amount of time to it. And I haven't found that time yet.
Yeah, it is it's fascinating, right? Because I don't have that nostalgia either for these. Like, I've never played Chrono Trigger, and at some point in my life, there was a point in my life where I'm like, I will play Chrono Trigger, and I feel like this was I've played this now, which sounds terrible. I don't want to seem like I played this so I don't have to play Chrono Trigger, but I think that itch to play something like Chrono Trigger was fixed by playing this. Like playing Sea of Stars. I know some people don't like narratively, like the main characters feeling kind of flat, but like, I don't think that's their goal, is to feel super deep. I think they're there to feel like 2 warriors that were trained to save the world, and then the side characters are those engaging bits. They are the ones giving extra life to our main characters. I've played through this game twice already, because I went to get the platinum, and there is one particular collectible that if you beat the game, you start the post game. If you complete the post game without getting the collectible, you can't get the collectible. So I had to start the game over to get said collectible and then get the platinum. So that was a brutal adventure for me. But you saying there was like so much around it. This was one of those ones leading up to it that I was like, I don't care what's coming out. Sea of Stars is my priority at that time. I had followed it for so long. I'm a huge fan of Sabotage. The Messenger is probably easily in my top, I'll say top 15, but maybe even top 10 games of all time. Like, I love The Messenger. So like the fact that they were making another game, which I'm very curious to see if this didn't exist in the same world, if they didn't advertise this as the same world as The Messenger, if it would have hit, or would have just been another JRPG like indie title that didn't catch me. But being sabotaged, saying, hey, we made The Messenger, we're also making this. I'm like, this has to be equally as fun and as funny. And it nailed all the notes for me. And I love Sea of Stars. I get it. RPG, long ass game. So like piecemeal, however that like individuals need to. But yeah, I recommend Sea of Stars so much.
I will get round to playing it. Like the thing is, when it released, I was still doing content on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was still working a full-time job and an extra job on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And I just did not find the time. Like I was choosing to play like shorter games just because I could finish those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like Sea of Stars was a thing that yeah.
Yeah. It's I think it's weird because like, we have these like, it's tough to be an indie multiplayer game. It's tough to be an indie RPG because you are up against people's time and people's commitment to things. Where like, if you are too long, plus not engaging, like I know some people feel about the characters in this game, it can be hard to like want to stick with it. So trying to think objectively about it, not being like, I'm the sucker who fell in love with Sea of Stars. But even then, like I see some people who haven't even beaten it once, and then I'm over here like, I beat it twice, just saying. But no, it's it's a lot. It is all things considered, it's not like the longest game in the world, but it's a long game. So it is a commitment. So you have to either put a lot aside or piecemeal it out. Like I'm going to do this much, and then finally beat it. But yeah, I'm glad you're going to get back to it. I think you'll love it.
Yeah, I definitely will. Like it's not my favorite genre, but it's one in that genre that I want to give a try. Yeah. At least.
Fucking do it, baby. Let's do it. Guys, Tofr streaming Sea of Stars someday. I'm not going to make that commitment for him, but
But how about your final game? Because that's a pretty good one as well.
My final game is actually pretty conveniently timed right now because I streamed the first 3 hours of this game on Game Pass and then never got back to it. And that game is Tunic. So anyone who's never heard of it, it is basically this like 3D classic Zelda-like game where you play as little fox. And everything about this game still to me sounds awesome. There's some accessibility modes. So if you're like getting lost, or the game was definitely a little challenging for me when I started. So I definitely dumbed down the damage, but the difficulty accessibility options are great. There is this mystery about it where you don't necessarily know everything about the controls and the skills that you have, but you have like an in-game, like classic video game manual. And as you unlock skills and find things, that manual updates to say like, this button does this. And like, that's really cool to me, where it does like that fourth wall thing of like, we all know you miss manuals in games. And the fact that like this is in here, and as you progress, you are upgrading this manual that you would typically find in your classic box. I'm like, this is really cool. I like this deal. The whole thing is pretty. The whole thing is sparkly. It was just, I started it. I have no excuse for like what came up or what could have possibly delayed it. I just remember playing it. I'm like, guys, we'll get back to this someday. And they just didn't get back to it.
I have the same thing actually. Like I started playing it and then stopped for the day and then never returned. And I don't know why, because I love everything that you just mentioned about it. Especially I grew up with like the big manuals inside the video game boxes. and those were amazing. And the fact that they're using that in game is brilliant.
It's so cool, man. It's such a fun thing. And I remember talking about Tunic for so long. And this is what makes it one of those weird ones, right? Because like, as much as I talked about Sea of Stars and how I finally played it and everything else, I had that same energy for Tunic for so long. Like, I think on 2 back-to-back, like, most anticipated videos, I included Tunic. So the fact that, like, the third year in a row, I'm like, I need to give some other game the spotlight. I can't say Tunic again 3 years in a row. But I still was just like, I'm very excited for Tunic. I can't wait to play it. And then the fact that when it was here that I didn't, I was like, I wonder how I let that one just get away, because I was super into that one. I was super excited for it. So much so that like, I'm like, if I get it on PlayStation, I'll probably play it. And I picked it up at PAX, like the physical copy, which is again across the room. To then, as of today recording, it is now free on PlayStation Plus. So like, now I don't have to open my physical one, but once we're done recording this, I'm like, let me go download Tunic and also Ghost Runner 2, that's a That's a pretty big one to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Tunic. The fact that I'll have it on PlayStation now. This one might actually be like a sooner than later. I think right now Hades 2 is kind of absorbing my life, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, as I make the time and install it on my PlayStation, I'll probably piecemeal that one a little bit and try and get back and beat Tunic so I can be like, I did it. It's done.
Nice.
And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Those are our indie list of shame. Let us know in the comments how shameful we are if you haven't played any of these. And just like all of my friends over on Instagram, you can tell us what is on your list of shame. I tried one of those funny little question and answer type deals, and I wrote, hey, what's on your list of shame? And a couple of people over on Instagram, you can follow me at CGDannyB over there, wrote in, including McMahon Bear Pig. I really hope that's not like Vince McMahon, because that might be a problematic name. Unless it's your own last name. I'm not going to judge, just saying. If it's Vince McMahon, probably change that. But McMahon Bear Pig has never played Chrono Trigger. Let me see. Jacob McCourt, it says, for relatively new indie games, I think that Chicory has to be at the top of the list. Chicory's a so banger. Jacob, I can't recommend enough getting to Chicory. That's such an emotional one. Really good. Mm-hmm. And then not related to any of the write-ins, but I always put them together for some reason. Chicory and Toem, like little photograph black and white game. Play Toem too.
Yes.
Toem's great.
Yes.
My buddy Dave Jackson over from Tales from the Backlog said, dude, so many. Civ, XCOM, Devil May Cry, any MMO. Yeah. For my boy who's got a whole podcast about clearing his backlog, he'll never clear his backlog. Let's see. Ill Grill Chill, aka Harry from the 6-1 Indie team, wrote in with Stardew Valley and Hollow Knight, so he can relate to our list very, very much. Yeah. Harry, join the book club. We can talk about Hollow Knight. The moderator Phantom Composure said Scene Investigator. I had to look this one up because I have not heard of it.
Never heard of that.
But yeah, it seems like it is very not quite serial cleaners. Like I don't think you're cleaning up the mess, but you are like, oh, dead bodies. We got to figure out what happened here. I guess you're solving the crime almost in like a simulator type format. So,
oh my God, this is CSI the game.
There you go. Listen, sounds good. Don't convince Phantom to go finish it or start it or whatever her case is. And then our final write-in, don't forget, Wholesome Games Direct coming up in June. Jenny Wyndham herself, host of Wholesome Games and Geeks and Grounds, wrote in with all my love for Final Fantasy, I still haven't gotten to Final Fantasy VI. Someday, she said in all caps and exclamation point. Yeah, Final Fantasy has never been like more modern. Like we're talking 7 Rebirth. 7 Remake, 7 Rebirth. Final Fantasy 16 is more my speed. Classic Final Fantasy, just like you can miss me with that a little bit. But... we get it. But yeah, thank you everyone for writing in. If you're like, man, I wanted to write in for that, go follow me on Instagram. Sometimes we do little spontaneous things, baby. Spontaneous things. Ooh. Oh, man. But you know what we've been playing this week? Games. Tofr.
Yes.
Tell me about Goodbye Volcano High.
Goodbye Volcano High is a beautiful kind of visual novel about dinosaur high schoolers. Yeah. You play as Fang, who's a non-binary dino with dreams of making it big as a musician.
Okay.
It's senior year, and you and your friends in Worm Drama, which is the name of the band,
cool.
are gearing up for the Battle of the Bands, but life seems to find a way of getting in the way. These teens are preparing for their future, when that future is all of a sudden cast in doubt because a huge meteor is hurtling through space and might just impact the Earth. The game asks some serious questions about what you would do if you realized your time might soon be up. So it's not afraid to like go into the like
some existential shit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, there's also plenty of like teen drama. There's a secret admirer. There's the battle of the bands that could determine your future if you still have one. There are messy friendships. There's parental issues. It's all there. Gameplay varies between like dialogue choices, like in most visual novels, and this rhythm game mini game, which appears every time you play a song. It's really cool. Like I haven't finished it yet. I'm pretty much near the end of the game.
Cool.
But I'm really enjoying my time with it. Like this is totally my jam. There's a lot of queer representation as well, which is always a big plus for me.
We stand that.
And the geek in me is also very happy because inside the game, there's this kind of Dungeons and Dragons sort of campaign that you play as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. If you like visual novels and like games like Night in the Woods, you're gonna love this.
Yeah. It's another one that's like on my list to get to eventually. Another one, if I recall, I'm pretty sure this dropped the same day as Sea of Stars. So I was like, miss you with that. Not today. But no, I remember being really into it. I think I got some mixed reviews where people were like, it's cool. I didn't really like this part. I wasn't too in love with the characters, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this seems like the Life is Strange guy in me is super jazzed to get to this at some point. I think everything I like about Life is Strange seems represented in this. Well, maybe not the time rewind stuff, but you get my point. I've created in my head knowing that like it's dinosaurs. There's a meteor hurling to the earth, towards the earth. In my head, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have good stuff, and then we're all gonna die, or we're just not. Like there will be one or the other, no in between, and I don't know what that could possibly be. I've just decided for myself that's what the ending has to be. But no, I think it looks really great.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm near the end, and so far in the game, it's still not sure that it's gonna happen.
Okay.
So who knows? But it's really interesting to see like how these characters react to the possibility of it happening. Because like you've got people who are like, it's not gonna happen. We're not worried. And there's other people going through these whole existential crises. And everything in between. It's cool. And like the voice acting is really nice. Okay. It's fully voice acted, which I love.
Love it. We stand that, dude. We love voice acting.
Yeah.
And
for a game about a musician, the music is really good as well.
Okay. Better than Stray Gods? Or...
I actually like the music from Stray Gods, so maybe I'm not the best judge here.
Yeah, dude. It's another. Yeah, like I said, it looks great. I'm excited to get to it someday. I think it'll be one that, like, when I see it pop up on like a PlayStation sale, that seems like a fun like platinum to drive towards. I'm in this bad spot right now where like I'm at my 149th platinum when I did another Crab's Treasure, so I'm like I have to do 150 as something special. It has to be. Yeah. So I have Fall of Porcupine. I have to finish the platinum, but I push that to the side. I'm like, that can't be 150. It's got to be something. But also like. Maybe it could be because it was the trailer I was in. So like maybe it should. I don't really know. But
I know which one should be your 150th.
Yeah, what do you think it should be?
Night in the Woods.
Oh, okay. That's not okay. That's different. That's not what I thought. My buddy Kanai's yelling at me that it should be Shovel Knight. I'm like, it makes sense. It should be. But
Shovel Knight should be like the big 200.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking because I'd have to go through the run of, and now we're getting away from Goodbye Volcano High. But listen, we're a podcast. We're doing the damn thing. But yeah, no, it's one where I have to get in the habit again of like getting good at it, playing all the things, beating the bosses, and then get good at not taking damage. Not taking damage, not dying. I forget what the trophy is. It's one or the other. I hope it's not dying. Not taking damage sounds fucking awful.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Danny,
so like getting used to it.
Danny.
Yeah.
Talking about getting good and beating bosses. What have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Hades 2. And by this week, I mean for the last 24 hours. Hold on, let me pull up Steam. I need to see what I'm at. I am at...
I'm going to guess 13 hours.
Just under 7. So, not too much. Okay. 6.8 hours, so...
Okay.
And there's also
by Thursday, you're going to be at 13
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what I'll probably do is I have to finish this, do something, eat something, because diabetes is kicking my ass. But then also, I'm probably in Hades till I record another podcast later tonight. So it's going to be a Hades night. But no, I am absolutely infatuated with this right now. And I said this, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen me tweeting out that, like, please, Supergiant, don't drop early access in May. Of all things I'm asking, don't do it in May. Please, not the time. And then what they do, they shadow dropped it in May. And there's like, here you go, play the damn game. I'm like, you bastards, I'm still going to play it, but you bastards. So like I said earlier, with my Wheel of Shame, I had just recently played Hades for the first time, which I think played to my favor a little bit because I kind of sucked at the first Hades and then I got good at it. And now with Hades 2, I'm basically going in 3-4 weeks removed. from playing Hades, jumping into Hades 2. And the fact that this feels so similar, yet everything feels so different is awesome. I don't know how Supergiant put the right just mess into there. I'm going to avoid like spoilers. Story spoilers. I know some people out there are like, I don't want to look at gods. I don't want to see anything. Maybe don't look at the video version. Just it's there because there are some new gods, and if you want to see them for the first time, just know. But early access is out there. It's $30. It's man, it's just really cool. The gameplay loop is still as fun as it was the first time. What I love about Melanoy is that if I had to put labels on it, Zagreus is more of like a fighter or like some kind of warrior, where Melanoy she's a witch. She's more magic based. So with the exception of like the daggers, right? Most of her weapons are like ranged, maybe not most. I'm talking out my ass here. Her weapons are very different compared to like Zagreus, where his are a lot more like getting in, doing the shit, where like Melanoy does have a lot of magic that is at a distance, so much so that like there's a whole new like gauge for her, where like you have this magic bar that depletes when you use spells. But every attack has a regular move and like an overcharge, I think it's called an omega move, where if I'm playing an Xbox controller, so if I use X to hit, if I hold X, I can charge up an attack, and that'll take a certain amount of like my health bar or my magic bar, that'll then deplete. Depending what upgrade you have, sometimes you can gain that over time. Like one of the new upgrades I have is every 5 seconds I get a little bit more of my magic back, so it does over time. By default, it doesn't. You have to either pick up magic items that will refill it, or get one of the boons that'll like refill by standing still for so long, it'll just fill back up. A lot of the gods are returning. Things like Zeus, Aphrodite, Poseidon, Artemis, all are back in like a different form. I think from what I've played and what I've seen, none of the exact boons are just copy pasted from the first one. They're all very different because Melanoy's kit's very different. So you are still being like, Zeus is still shocking shit. Poseidon is still pushing shit. But it all plays so differently. And it feels like I just got the biggest DLC for Hades 1 off the rip. And I am at the second boss, but apparently like what it sounds like, all but like the final areas in this early access build already. So like this shit's meaty. Like it's out here. It's like we almost basically just have Hades 2. And I'm infatuated. I just want to play more. I want to sit here and I want to go play more Hades. I want to fight more bitches. I want to level up more stuff. The base is I won't say very different. Like they changed the mirror, right? So in the mirror you would get the purple crystals, I've heard they're called, come home, install those, get your upgrades. Here you have more of these like tarot card type things. So what you do is when you go to leave for the run, you go through this gate and you have Grasp, because she has this cool like Link style like green arm with a skeleton exposed in the inside. When you upgrade that, she can hold more to this ring, which allows how many different like ability points you can use. I think when you start, you get like 10. When you pick these cards, the cards have like an ability score. So it's like this one's worth 1 point, this one's worth 3, this one's worth 2. So you can allot up to 10 points to start. Once you pick up the currency and upgrade your grass, that you can do 12, 14, 16. I think I'm currently at like 22. And as you pick these cards, they'll expand on a board and then make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And you just get more cards, more abilities. You can get increased health and magic this run. You can get the one I talked about, getting like every 5 seconds, your magic starts to refill. I think there's all these different things you can upgrade. I'm only maybe 2 or 3 tiers into this thing. I don't know how big it is. But there's just so many different systems, so many things to add where like it adds a whole new layer to what Hades was originally. But again, still feels like this is more Hades. This feels like I am just playing a new character in Hades original that plays so differently and has all this fun stuff to it. And I'm obsessed and I just want more.
I can imagine. While you've been talking, I've mostly been looking at the video you've got playing there, and it looks just stunning.
Gorgeous, dude. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Apparently it looks stunning on the Steam Deck OLED. I haven't played on Steam Deck yet. I've only been playing on PC. Like I said, around 7 hours. I have gotten to the boss of a second area, but not beaten them yet. They've kicked my ass twice because I've gotten there with 1 death defy, like no health. And then I'm like, all right, well, they're about to beat my ass. I'm going to reset and then go in and fight again. And it's tough. It's a tough fight. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, if I grind out this and do this instead, level this up, get more of these, I'll go in there like more than prepared. But currently my favorite build, I'm rocking a lot with Demeter. She's like the last one, I think, scriptedly, the last one you unlock in the main game. I love ice. I love freezing people. It's so great. Demeter, and I have this great combo with Zeus and one of the new gods that like... Okay. When you see the big ring that I keep dropping, so what it is, that's your cast, that's your B. So like typically with Zagreus, you would get like a special ability and you would launch that based on your weapon. Here, you have a big ring that holds all the enemies in place if they step into it. And then depending what gods you have, what boons you have, they can upgrade that. So like the Zeus one, anything that's in there, one of those beasts is going to get picked and they just get electrocuted again and again. So you'll put that ring down, they're stuck in place, and Zeus is just like, wham, 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 wham. Oh, I killed that one. Wham, 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 and then moves to the next one and just start blowing them up. And it's nice. So awesome and it feels great. But that with one of the like damage over time abilities I got, I was like, stand in the circle. I dare you, stand in the circle. You're dead. Yeah, I can sit here and talk like for hours about what I've played with Hades, but yeah, for now I would just say go play Hades. Go play more Hades.
Yeah, and like when it comes to like the polish of the game, did you encounter any bugs? Did you encounter like it's still in early access? So
yeah, I this game, as far as early access goes, this probably feels the most pristine I've ever seen an early access game. I've had no issues whatsoever. This game has run flawlessly for me. I will say from an outside perspective, Phantom, one of my mods, she picked it up last night. Now I do also contribute to her having an older computer. It probably just doesn't run well on it. But she basically loads up the game. And she like if she stands still, it's fine. The moment she moves into the map, it all goes black. So like I just don't think her computer can run it. Sorry, fan, I'm not putting your business out there. My apologies. Just so we all talk about it. But yeah, so it seems like it can't run on her computer at the moment. But from what I've played and with Chris Connor and I, we've all played a little bit of it. It seems like it's running great for all of us. I don't think I've had anything mechanically that's gone wrong. I've been like, oh, I glitched through the wall. I died. Blah, 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 blah. Even some people who got early access still had like key art missing. That's because it was still being developed. But I guess they updated all of that like with early access. So I think I heard from Kind of Funny that like one of the characters, one of the new gods, had like placeholder art where like it was just like a sketch. I haven't seen the sketch, but it was there. And then the day early access dropped, they updated and put in her official key art. I'm like, oh my God, she stopped hiding from me. It's like, oh, she wasn't hiding. Just the art wasn't finalized. It wasn't in the game. But yeah, I think there's 5 weapons in the game right now. I have 4 of them. So there's still one that hasn't been added to the game, period. But yeah, all the weapons seem to be there for the most part. Like, it's like feature complete. It seems like they're just kind of looking for feedback on like what feels good, like stat wise and what needs to be changed. But yeah, if you just told me they were putting this out now, again, pending the last level being included, I'd say the game's like done. Like the game feels great. I have nothing to be like, Supergiant, you should probably fix this. Again, having not beaten it or gotten to the end of it yet, but Hades is good.
That's
Hades
high praise.
Yeah, dude. Supergiant, we're talking triple I, man. We're talking Supergiant. They're up there, dude. They're killing it.
That's true.
Oh my God, some of the characters are so fucking hot. God, Hecate's is so damn hot. Oh my God, Nemesis is so damn hot. I just break me, man. But yeah, Hades 2 just dropped yesterday. I was recording, but yeah, May 6th. So if you want to pick it up now, I also saw that depending on like updates and everything, how much more work has to go into it before full release, the price may go up by full release. It is currently $30 on Steam. So I would recommend if you're a little nervous, like I don't want to pay more than $30 because I think 30 is already pretty steep. I think as indie standards go, I still think it's totally worth it. Totally worth the price. But I just think some people are like, that's not $20. You might want to grab it now because it might go up to $35, $40 or something by the time full release comes around. But yeah, good deal. Good deal. And I guess early access, the plan is to run through 2024's early access and then expect 1.0 sometime early 2025. It seems to be the direction the team's going for.
Okay,
cool.
Guess I'll have to buy Hades 2 now.
Listen, you got him, man. You got to pick up Hades 2. It's a good one. It's a banger. I can't wait to play more. I'll probably be streaming. I said I plan to stream Animal Well on Thursday. Well, today as this comes out. And I was like, I requested a key. If I don't get a key, I'll probably switch to Hades. I'll be like, hey, we're gonna stream Hades instead, just because like now it's here. But like, if they're like, oh, by the way, here you go, Danny. Like, Donkey emails me personally. It says, here, you can have a copy of Animal Well. I'm like, okay, we're sticking with Animal Well. I will still pick up Animal Well and still stream it. Maybe just not right now, because the Hades is right here.
I feel so bad for like all of these other developers releasing games this month.
Yeah, man, right on it. But speaking of other developers releasing games this month, how about we do indies releasing this week? That's a segue, baby. So,
that's a great segue.
You
need to take the big breath though. The big breath in before you unleash it on us.
We got it. All right. Releasing this week, coming from May 9th all the way to May 15th. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit because Hades dropping yesterday as of recording. Hades 2 dropped in early access on May 6th for Steam. 1000X Resist drops on May 9th for Steam and Switch. I know, Tofr, you are very excited for that one.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that demo is also part of LuddoNarraCon. So if you're like, what's Tofr so excited for? Check out that demo and find out for yourself. I just have to play it myself, but... Animal Well drops on May 9th for Steam, Switch, and PlayStation. Crow Country drops on May 9th for Steam and PlayStation. That one I'm very excited for. Again, as someone who doesn't like horror, this has a very classic PS1 horror to it. Played the demo a little bit. Yeah. Very cool. I'm really excited for Crow Country. That one looks like a fun one. Mm-hmm. Another one I'm very excited for. Crypt Master also drops on May 9th for Steam. Like dungeon crawler where you have to type to like an AI like Crypt Master who then will answer you. You have to have them solve stuff. He's like, I don't know what's in this chest. You're like, taste it. It's very metallic. Touch it. It's very metallic. Look at it. It's a metallic thing in the shape of a head. You're like, okay, it's a helmet. It's a helmet. Got it. Then you guess what it is. He's like, you did it. Now you've unlocked new skills. It's really fun. I think it's gonna be a cool one.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. But not to rant about every game on this list. Could be here forever. Little Kitty Big City drops on May 9th for Steam, Switch, and Xbox. Also coming to Game Pass. You can check that one out. Again, my review should be up on YouTube at this time, so be sure to check that out as well. Brokula comes out on May 9th for Steam and Xbox. Vampire Survivors, the Gun DLC, I forget what it was called. Is it the Contra one? Anyway, DLC comes out May 9th for Steam, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. It was on the list, but the game doesn't come out till the summer. So I'm not sure why I was listed for PlayStation, but
that's weird.
Maybe it shadow dropped early. I don't know. Rune Dog comes out on May 12th for Steam. The Land Beneath Us comes out on May 13th for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Fabledom comes out on May 13th for Steam. Nevermore comes out on May 13th for Steam and Early Access. Athenian Rhapsody, friend of the show, Nico. That game comes out on May 14th for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. If you like Earthbound, but you like funny Earthbound, play Athenian Rhapsody. Dread Delusion comes out on May 14th for Steam. The Rogue Prince of Persia drops on May 14th in Steam Early Access. Paladins comes out May 15th on Steam. And then Mullet Mad Jack also comes out on May 15th for Steam. Do you know anything about Mullet Mad Jack? You heard that one yet?
I haven't heard of it. I'm gonna
so
check it out.
It is like a first person, like, I hate saying Doom clone, but it's like a very fast paced like shooter. And I guess basically, I forget, it's like adrenaline or whatever, but your character can only fry for like 15 seconds. And you increase that time by killing other people. And you're like trying to save like an anime princess type deal. It's a wild mess, but like it's a fun mess.
I like the visuals. It reminds me of like the arcades in the 90s.
Yes, I think it should probably come with an epilepsy warning. It's a lot of flashing lights. Yeah. So like just know if you're watching that trailer, you're going to pick up it. The game's cool, very flashy, very, very poppy. So just be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yes, those are all the games you can look forward to playing this week. I'm sure there's more that we didn't get in the list, but if you want to blame anybody, blame Jill Grote from the Indie Informer, because that's where I steal my list from. Sorry, Jill. Sorry. But yes, to round out the episode, do not forget you can write into the show yourself and tell us what your favorite indie game is, just like friend of the show, Jacob McCourt did. Jacob, you wrote in last week, and I wanted to use it. Let me read it first. He said, I love to shout an underrated, under the radar pick that doesn't get love enough. Virginia by Variable State is an interactive first person drama about an FBI agent investigating some weird stuff. There's a moment in the game that's a top moment in gaming for me. Flash forward. If you know, you know. It's a perfect sequence. Jacob wrote in with this one last week and I was going to include it, but I had to pause. I'm like, I don't know if I know what he's referring to with flash forward. So I went and watched somebody's playthrough of it. And I'm pretty sure I know like that it is quite literally like when you play it, I guess to avoid spoilers, because it's kind of like towards the end of the game, it kind of like, you know, narratively like, oh, this happens. But I'm like, yeah, this is pretty lit. This is a pretty cool moment.
It's a really cool game. Like, having grown up watching the X-Files,
yeah,
this game was totally something for me. And like the visuals are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty linear as a walking simulator, but I like it felt right in this game, and I feel like Jacob said, it doesn't get enough love.
No, 1000%. I remember streaming it a few years back. I think I'm just gonna beat this game tonight and get the platinum. And it sucks because like on my channel, if I go through my clips, I think the only clip that was made is the moment where my room was too hot, so I stood up. I had one of those floor air conditioners. I stood up and went bam and smacked the air conditioner. But it is me at like the very beginning of the game, and that's like my only clip of Virginia. I'm like, damn, I wish I got like some of the cool shit in there.
Yeah.
But it's a dope one. It does some like really cool things with maybe less camera work, but just like snappy cuts where like you're establishing like this is happening. Like, oh, time to get out there. We're the FBI. We got it. And then like you open a door and then like it cuts to like, oh, I'm having a meeting with my boss. You're like walking out of the office. Bam. I cut to like, oh, I'm waking up in bed. And you're like, I don't know if this is a flashback. Am I seeing the future? Oh, there's a buffalo in my bedroom. What is happening? Like it's very like trippy, and there's some weird stuff that happens. But like, it is definitely an underrated narrative game that I definitely think more people should check out. And I can't imagine it's very expensive. I think if Burb's listening, Burb, you like Firewatch, Virginia will take you like an hour and a half. I recommend Virginia.
Right, yeah, it's only $10 as well.
Oh, bet. Is that like on sale, or that's just the price?
That's just the price.
Hell yeah. That's Steam?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Play Virginia. Great write-in. Thank you so much, Jacob, for the show. Yeah, if you guys want to check out, I could list all of Jacob's podcasts here. Crossplay Conversations. There's an episode with me on it. If you want to watch our PAX episode, go check out Crossplay Conversations. Jacob, I would also plug your video game trivia live event in Ontario this weekend, but that was yesterday. I have this episode dropping, so I hope you had a fun time doing that, friendo. I don't know if it was coming a YouTube video. If that's on YouTube, let us know, because I want to watch that. Anyway, yeah. I'm rambling. Oh, but ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that has been this episode of Playlog. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys want to stick around and catch more of it, be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. While you're at it, hit that thumbs up. And if you're listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, any of those fun platforms, be sure to hit the follow button and leave us a 5-star review. More people find the podcast. We can talk about more fun things. And now's the part we have to come up with what next week's show is going to be about, because that's important to do. Tofr, if the people on the interwebs wanted to find you, where would they go?
They would go to Play Nice Kids on just about any social media.
I'm so sorry. I went to check a message and Brendan Lee Mulligan yelled at me. My apologies. Shit, I could have waited another like 30 seconds. It would have totally not been an issue, but I was like, who texted me? Thanks, Brendan. Thanks for being on the show. But yes, be sure to check out Tofr over on the socials. We be tweeting at each other now all the time for indie game stuff. But yeah, go follow us both on Twitter at CGDannyB, at play.nice.kids. Your underscores on Twitter, correct? Play_nice_kids.
I think so. Yeah,
you'll find
it.
I
think so.
Go through our recent tweets. You'll find it from one of us.
Yeah.
Yes, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whole 9 yards. We will see you guys next time.